In the vast skies of World War II, an American P-38 Lightning and a German airplane engaged in a thrilling encounter. The American pilot showcased exceptional skill and precision, maneuvering his Lightning with unmatched agility. With a burst of gunfire, he crippled the German aircraft, sending it spiraling towards the earth. As the dust settled, the victorious American pilot soared triumphantly through the skies, leaving a lasting impression of bravery and determination. In response to a challenging specification from the United States Army Air Corps in February 1937, the Lockheed Corporation embarked on designing what would become the iconic P-38 Lightning. The ambitious circular proposal X-608, crafted by First Lieutenants Benjamin S. Kelsey and Gordon P. Saville, outlined performance goals for a twin-engined, high-altitude interceptor. This innovative proposal cleverly sidestepped the restrictive USAA Act requirements for pursuit aircraft by advocating for a heavier, more robust fighter with a minimum of 1,000 pounds of armament, twice the standard load. Lockheed's secretive engineering team, later known as Skunk Works, led by Hall Hibbard and Clarence Kelly Johnson, explored numerous twin-engine configurations. Their eventual design featured the distinctive twin-boom structure, which housed the tail assembly, engines, and turbo superchargers, with a central nacelle for the pilot and armament. This setup was rare among contemporary fighters, paralleling only a few designs like the Dutch Fokker GI and the Northrop P-61 Black Widow. The P-38's initial armament was formidable: 2.50 caliber Browning machine guns, 2.30 caliber Brownings, and a 23 mm autocannon. However, this evolved through experimentation into the P-38E's final combat configuration of 4 M2 Browning machine guns and 1 Hispano 20 mm autocannon. Concentrating all armament in the nose was a bold move that differed from the wing-mounted guns of other U.S. aircraft, allowing for precise, long-range targeting without the convergence limitations. Kelsey and Saville's specifications demanded unprecedented performance: a top speed of 360 miles per hour at high altitude and a climb to 20,000 feet within 6 minutes. The Vultee XP 1015 design fell short, leaving Lockheed's P-38 to rise to the challenge. Powered by two 1000 GP turbo supercharged Allison V1710 engines with counter-rotating propellers, the P-38 eliminated engine torque effects and maintained high performance at altitude. The engine arrangement, with turbo superchargers behind the engines and exhausts along the boom's dorsal surfaces, further defined the P-38's unique look. The P-38 also introduced several innovations in aircraft construction, including extensive use of stainless steel and flush-riveted, butt-jointed aluminum skin panels. It was the first American fighter to exceed 400 miles per hour in level flight, showcasing Lockheed's forward-thinking engineering. Lockheed clinched the competition on June 23, 1937, with its Model 22, securing a contract to build the XP-38 prototype for $163,000. However, Lockheed's own investment in the project ballooned to $761,000. Construction began in July 1938 in a former bourbon distillery that Lockheed had acquired to expand its operations. This site, chosen for its seclusion and security, became the first of the famed Lockheed Skunk Works locations. The XP-38 took its maiden flight on January 27, 1939, piloted by Ben Kelsey. Shortly after, Kelsey proposed a bold speed dash to right field, which General Henry Hap Arnold approved, suggesting a coast-to-coast flight to New York. The XP-38 set a record by flying from California to New York in just over 7 hours, not counting 2 refueling stops. Despite carburetor icing that forced a crash landing short of the Mitchell Field runway, the flight's success led the Air Corps to order 13 YP-38S on April 27, 1939, each costing $134,284. Lockheed's chief test pilot, Tony LeVere, criticized the cross-country flight as an unnecessary stunt, but Kelsey believed the incident accelerated the program by cutting short initial testing. His efforts and the aircraft's promise earned Kelsey a promotion to captain in May 1939. The manufacture of YP-38S lagged behind schedule due to necessary adjustments for mass production and the rapid expansion of Lockheed's Burbank facility. This transformation saw Lockheed grow from a specialized civilian firm to a major defense contractor producing various aircraft like Venturas, Harpoons, Lodestars, and Hudsons, while also designing the Constellation for TWA. The first YP-38 was completed in September 1940, with its first flight on September 17th. By June 1941, all 13 YP-38S were delivered to the USAAC, with 12 retained for flight testing and 1 for destructive stress testing. These YP-38S differed significantly from the XP-38 prototype, featuring lighter construction and changes in engine fit. Notably, the propeller rotation was reversed, spinning outward at the top of their arc rather than inward. This adjustment improved the aircraft's stability as a gunnery platform, enhancing its performance in combat scenarios. The debut of the P-38 Lightning in active service marked a significant chapter in aviation history, with the 1st Fighter Group being the first unit to receive these formidable aircraft. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor, the unit swiftly relocated to San Diego, joining forces with the 14th Pursuit Group to bolster West Coast defense efforts. The initial Lightning variant to enter service was the F-4, a specialized reconnaissance version equipped with 4K-17 cameras in lieu of guns. These F-4S, designated P-38Es, were deployed to the 8th Photographic Squadron in Australia on April 4, 1942. Additionally, a handful of F-4S briefly served with the Royal Australian Air Force in the same theater starting in September 1942. Meanwhile, on May 29, 1942, a squadron of 25 P-38S began operations in the challenging terrain of the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. The P-38's extended range proved invaluable in the remote island chain, where it remained deployed for the duration of the war. The harsh Aleutian environment provided a rigorous testing ground for the new aircraft, with more losses occurring due to severe weather and navigational challenges than enemy action. Despite the unforgiving conditions, the Lightning's capabilities shone brightly on August 9, 1942, when 2 P-38Es from the 343rd Fighter Group of the 11th Air Force encountered and successfully downed a pair of Japanese Kawanishi H-6K Mavis flying boats. This marked the first documented instance of Japanese aircraft being shot down by P-38 Lightnings, showcasing the aircraft's effectiveness in combat. During the intense days following the Battle of Midway, as the focus shifted, the USAAF initiated the strategic redeployment of fighter groups to Europe under Operation Bolero. Among them were the renowned Lightnings of the 1st Fighter Group, embarking on a remarkable journey across the Atlantic via Iceland. It was during this transatlantic voyage on August 14, 1942, that Second Lieutenants Elza Shahan and Joseph Schaffer etched their names in history by downing a Focke-Wulf VW-200 Condor over the vast expanse of the Atlantic. This marked a significant milestone as the first Luftwaffe aircraft destroyed by the USAAF. The transfer to Europe was not without its challenges. Initially stationed in Britain, the 1st and 14th Fighter Groups soon found themselves repositioned to North Africa as part of the buildup for Operation Torch. Utilizing the Lightning's exceptional range, pilots navigated their aircraft over the Bay of Biscay, circumventing neutral territories like Spain and Portugal to refuel in Morocco. Engaging in combat operations from November 1942, the P-38S quickly proved their mettle, with Lieutenant Mark Shipman securing the first North African kill, downing an Italian aircraft. Yet the Mediterranean theater posed unique trials. While some P-38 pilots achieved ace status, others faced challenges due to tactical limitations and inexperience. The initial emphasis on bomber escort duties left squadrons vulnerable to German fighters, prompting a tactical shift in February 1943. Despite early setbacks, P-38S continued to play a vital role, targeting transport aircraft and performing ground attack missions. The conflict over the Mediterranean saw mixed assessments of the P-38's performance. German pilots' opinions varied, with some acknowledging its agility and speed, while others deemed it an easy target. Nevertheless, the Lightning's impact was undeniable, with engagements spanning from dogfights to ground attacks. As the war progressed, the P-38's role evolved. In Europe, they served as long-range escort fighters, protecting heavy bomber operations. Notably, Lieutenant General Jimmy Doolittle, opting for a P-38 during the Normandy invasion, marveled at its flying prowess. The Lightning also played a crucial but lesser-known role as a fighter bomber during the European campaigns. Units like the 370th and 474th Fighter Groups conducted ground attack missions, targeting enemy installations and providing close air support. Despite its contributions, the P-38 faced scrutiny, particularly after failed escort missions in 1944. Ultimately, the Lightning gradually phased out of frontline duties in Europe, making way for the P-51 Mustang. However, its legacy endured, with reconnaissance variants continuing operations until the war's end. As the jet age dawned, the P-38 Lightning, once a stalwart of Allied air power, faced obsolescence. Thousands of surplus P-38s found themselves redundant, with orders for nearly 1,900 more units canceled. By 1949, the last P-38S in service with the United States Air Force had been retired, marking the end of an era. However, the Lightning's story didn't conclude there. In a post-war agreement dated April 1946, Italy acquired 100 late-model P-38L and F-5 Lightnings. These aircraft underwent refurbishment before being delivered to the Aeronautica Militare, where they served in various capacities until 1956. Despite facing challenges such as aging engines and pilot errors, the P-38S left a mark on Italian aviation history, appreciated for their ground visibility and takeoff stability. Surplus P-38S also found homes in other foreign air forces. Honduras acquired 12, while China retained 15. Additionally, the Dominican Air Force operated several P-38S, including 2 unarmed black 2-seater variants, in 1947. Some P-38S were repurposed for unconventional roles. In 1954, during the Guatemalan coup d'etat, the CIA's Liberation Air Force employed a P-38M to drop napalm bombs on the British cargo ship SS Springfjord. Similarly, in 1957, Honduran P-38S were used to bomb and strafe a village during a border dispute with Nicaragua. The Lightning also found new life in the world of air racing. From 1946 to 1949, brightly colored P-38S graced the skies over Reno and Cleveland, thrilling spectators with their speed and agility. Notable aviators like Tony LeVere and Lefty Gardner contributed to the P-38's racing legacy, with Gardner's aircraft, White Lightning, achieving fame for its polished aluminum finish. Despite its decline in military service, the P-38 remained relevant in civilian roles. F-5 variants were utilized by aerial survey companies for mapping purposes. Over time, however, the number of surviving P-38S dwindled. Today, only a few dozen examples exist, with some still flying. Among them is Glacier Girl, the earliest built surviving P-38, which was recovered from the Greenland ice cap in 1992 and restored to flight status. These remaining aircraft serve as reminders of the P-38's remarkable legacy in aviation history.